My ever due respect to our distinguished guests, to our judges, J. Marians, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant day to everyone. Today, I'm going to tell you a story entitled My Brother's Peculiar Chicken by Alejandro Rosas. My brother Kiko once had a very peculiar chicken. It was peculiar because no one could tell whether it was a rooster or a hen. My brother claimed it was a rooster. I claimed it was a hen. We almost got whipped because we argued too much. The whole question began early one morning. Kiko and I were driving the chickens from the cornfield. Suddenly, we heard the rapid flapping of wings. We turned into the direction of the sound and saw two chickens fighting at the far end of the field. "Look at that rooster," my brother said, pointing directly at one of the chickens. "If I had a rooster like that, I could make a fortune in the cockpit." "Let's go and catch it," I suggested. "You'll be staying here. I will go and catch it," Kiko said. My brother slowly approached the battling chickens. When he got near them, he dived and caught one of them by the leg. "It is a hen," I said. "What is the matter with you?" my brother asked. "No, look at its face. It has no comber wattles." "No comber wattles? Who cares about its comber wattles? Didn't you see it in the fight?" "Sure, I saw it in the fight, but I still say it is a hen." "Did you ever see a hen with spurs on her legs like this? Or a hen with a tail like this? I don't care about its spurs or tail. I tell you, it is a hen." The argument went on in the fields the whole morning. When we arrived at our house, Kiko tied the chicken to a peg. The chicken flapped its wings and then crowed. "Tuk-tuk-tuk!" "There! Did you hear that?" my brother exclaimed triumphantly. "I suppose you're going to tell me now that hens crow." "I don't care if it crows or not. That chicken is a hen." We went into the house and the discussion continued during lunch. "It is not a hen," Kiko said. "It is a rooster." "It is a hen," I said. "It is not." "It is." "How many times must father tell you not to argue during lunch?" Mother interjected. "What is the argument this time?" We told mother and she went to look at the chicken. "That chicken," she said, "is a bit of a hen. It is a rooster that looks like a hen." That should have ended the argument. But father also went out to see the chicken and he said, "No, sir, that chicken is a binalake, a rooster which looks like a hen." "Have you been drinking again?" Mother asked. "No," father answered. "Then what makes you say that that is a hen? Have you ever seen a hen with feathers like that?" "Listen, I have handled fighting cocks since I was a boy, and you gonna tell me that thing is a rooster?" Before Kiko and I realized what had happened, father and mother were arguing about the chicken by themselves. Soon, mother was crying. She always cried when she argued with father. My brother said, "I know who can settle this question." "Who?" I asked. "The chief of the village." The chief was the oldest man in the village, so my brother untied the chicken and we took it to the chief. "Is this a male or a female chicken?" Kiko asked. "That is a question that should concern only another chicken," the chief replied. My brother and I happen to have a special interest in this particular chicken. Please give us an answer. Just say yes or no. "Is this a rooster?" "It doesn't look like any rooster I have ever seen," the chief said. "Is it a hen then?" I asked. "It doesn't look like any hen I have ever seen." "No, that could not be a chicken. That is something I have never seen before. It must be a bird of some other kind." "Oh, what's the use?" Kiko said. We walked away. "Well, what should we do now?" I said. "Let's go to town and see Mr. Cruz. He would know." my brother said. Mr. Eduardo Cruz lived in the nearby town. He had studied poultry raising. We took the chicken to his office. Mr. Cruz, Kiko said, is this a hen or a rooster? Mr. Cruz looked at the bird curiously and then said, I don't know. I couldn't tell in one look. I have never run across a chicken like this before. Well, is there any way you can tell? Yes, look at the feathers on its back. If the feathers are round, then it is a hen. If they are pointed, it's a rooster. The three of us examined the feathers closely. It had both. Very peculiar, said Mr. Cruz. Is there any way you can tell? I could kill it and examine its insides. No, I do not want it to be killed, my brother said. I took the rooster in my arms and we walked back to the bayou. Kiko was silent most of the way. Then he said, I know how I can prove to you that this is a rooster. How? I asked. Would you agree that this is a rooster if I made it fight in the cockpit and it won? I said, if this hen of yours can beat a gamecock, I will believe anything. All right, he said. We'll take it to the cockpit this Sunday. So that Sunday, we took the chicken to the cockpit. Kiko looked around for a suitable opponent. He finally picked a red rooster. Don't be a fool, I said. That red rooster is a killer. There's no rooster in this town that can stand against it. Pick a lesser rooster. My brother would not listen. The match was made. I expected our chicken to die of fright. Instead, a strange thing happened. A lovesick expression came into the red rooster's eyes. Then it did a love dance. That was all our chicken needed. It rushed the red rooster with its neck feathers flaring. In one lunge, it buried its spurs in its opponent's chest. The fight was over. Cheating! Cheating! Fixed fight! The crowd shouted. Then a riot broke out. My brother and I had to leave through the back way. I had the chicken under my arm. As soon as we were safe, my brother said, Do you believe it is a rooster now? Yes, I replied. I was glad the whole argument was over. Just then, the chicken began to quiver. It stood up in my arms and cackled with laughter. Pak-pak, pak-pak, pak-pak. Something warm and round dropped into my hand. It was